Or should I say praise the Lord and good morning? It's good to be back after a small break. As Brother Tom has said, we're going to study about man. Since we are human beings, why we need to study about us? Everybody knows, at least himself and herself. So a deep study about man, you may think not necessary. But you will be surprised to know that most people do not know themselves. Who am I? That question puzzles people. Who am I? I think some things about me. You think something else about me. God will be thinking something altogether different. So the question, who am I? It's a big question. Yes. Great men of God has, wondered about it. Immanuel Kant, the great theologian who lived a couple of centuries past, went into a garden, public garden. He sat there in a bench. From the time the garden opened, he sat there until the garden was to be closed. The watchman went and asked him, "Sir, you have been sitting here all day on this bench. It's time to close it. Who are you?" And Immanuel Kant said, "That's what I have been thinking all day." See, it's something that you have to think all day, who are you? And that's true, Yes. Only the Bible can answer the question, who am I or who are you? Nobody else. Only the Maker can answer, who is man? So that's a big question. Hopefully, as a result of this study, we will be able to get a closer understanding, a deeper understanding of who man is. Man is a unique person. Probably the most controversial person. All the problems in the world basically are created man. And of course, most of the blessings also are the work of his hands. So a proper study about man is, very necessary. The study of man is called anthropology. Because anthropos in the Greek language means man and logos means word or teaching. So anthropology is the study or the doctrine of man. That's what our subject is. And this study includes creation, probation, fall. It includes also topics about man's body, soul, spirit. But it does not include topics like regeneration, sanctification, etc. They all come under another topic called soteriology. Why it is added under soteriology? Because that is entirely what God does for us. We have basically no part other than just accepting what God does. So we are studying all about ourselves. God created man marvelously. Marvelously. You ever wondered about yourself standing before a mirror, looking at your image? how marvelous you are, how marvelously God had made you. The psalmist and other writers have spoken about it. Marvelously created. They did not have medical sciences advanced very far like it is today. They didn't know very much about the anatomy of man as much as it is known, or the physiology of man. But yet the psalmist and others said that, was wonderfully created in the secret places. When my bones were formed in the belly of my mother, God had seen everything. They knew that God is the only one who had seen the details of man. So we needed to study about man, and actually then we needed to be amazed about man, and as a result of our study we need to come back to God and say thank you. You are a great creator. Just to take a little part that God made, like the eyes maybe. The ophthalmology and the ophthalmologist and all that things, how many years it takes to study the eye. Or even the skin, the dermatologist, how much study going on there. The dentist, how many subdivisions there. Every part of man, that all we are talking about the external part, the outward part. But what about the mind? Has anybody really understood how the mind works? You look at a little child, newly born child, the child smiles and then frowns. People have come up with all kinds of explanations. Angels may be coming to them, or maybe a little demon trying to trouble them, because the little innocent children, babies, infant babies, they smile so beautiful. Why are they smiling? You go to the anatomy lab, sometimes you can see in the glass bottles, 6 and 7 month old fetuses cut and kept there. I have seen little children sucking their thumb in those glass bottles, 7 month old child sucking the thumb. And psychologists say that you suck the thumb because you have emotional needs not met. So what emotional need the child is having when the child is in the womb of the mother? No wonder the psalmist said that God has created me, so marvelously, so beautifully. The mystery, man is a mystery really. The sad thing or the good thing, and the sad thing is that man trying to find out all about man without a creator, that's a sad thing. The good thing is that only man can study man. No animal will come and say that I will study. Even no angel has ever offered to write a book on anthropology. It's all man. No cow study itself, no elephant study itself. We have to do the study for them. That itself shows that only man has the capacity to think critically, to examine, to investigate, to research. Animals don't do research. Yes, monkeys will be doing some research upon the tree, but that's research for some survival, But man, does what all studies. Yeah. The subjects under the study of man, some of those subjects even we don't know what they are, It's so vast, so deep. Yes. So man is a unique creation. He must have a unique creator. So intricately made. If I can write my biography, if anybody will read it, Usually it's a bunch of lies that people, autobiography is a bunch of lies people write it to make themselves a little better than they are. It's everybody's desire that they wanted to, people think they are better than what, they have known. So some secrets they will say. But the thing is, only God can write a biography of man. And He has done it in the Bible. So we cannot go to any scientific books, sociologist book on anthropology, and to find out what man is. We have to go to the Bible, the Word of God. Let the Creator speak for the creature. Let the Creator tell us how He has made us and what we are. So this is a big question, what is man? What is man? Yes, the writers of the book said, what is man that you may be mindful of him? What is man? But God says that if there is an idol of God on the earth, it is man. Because God said, let us make man in our image. The God who said, don't make any image, He made one image of Him. Said that's enough. Yes. Man is not allowed to make any more images. God created an idol. If anybody wants to know who God is like, look at man. But the problem is, today looking at man, we cannot know who God is because man is a sinner. He sinned. It is just like a broken mirror. You pick it up, it dropped it from your hand. It was so beautiful glass mirror. You could see your image in it so clearly, but it fell down, broken into 100 pieces, it's still inside the frame. You take it, pick it up and look your image in it. What do you see? See that it's a perverted image. So looking at man today, we cannot know who God is. No. But we can know one thing, that He must be far, far greater, superior, more intelligent, more powerful than man is. Now considering all that man is doing, what is man doing? He is only examining what God has made. Call it inventions. No, there are no inventions, only discoveries. Man go around and discover something God has made. What inventions man make? When he finds out that water is made of hydrogen and oxygen, is that an invention or a discovery? He only discovers it. So really there are no inventions, because man is using the basic materials God made and he is analyzing it or synthesizing it. That's what it is. Of course man calls it, he feels he is very big. In today's newspaper there were 3 pictures of the most intelligent people in the world. The middle one is a little girl, 16-year-old, more intelligent than Einstein and the other man. What is his name? Stephen Hawking. Yes. She has already gone. Her IQ is far higher than both of them. So even in spite of that, what she will do, what she will understand about this universe? Hawking, with all his understanding, has said that, there is no God. That's what he has found out. Einstein didn't say there is no God, Einstein, of course, believed there is something, but he didn't know about God either. So only God can tell us who we are, what we are, why we are made, why we behave the way we are behaving. Where did things go wrong? How things could be made right? And all these things, in a sense, is part of the study. Of course, as I said, soteriology takes care of our salvation part. It is not included because it's a work of God today, not part of man's work. God has created man uniquely. 6 days God created everything else. He created the material world, the heavens, the earth, and all that contains. And then God said, let us make man. Let us make man. But He didn't stop there. Let us make man in our image, in our likeness. He was doing the creation for 6 days. Until the first half of the 6th day, He created the animals and all that. So He never said, let us make animals in our image. Even didn't say, let us make angels in our image. He may have made angels in His image. I'm not saying they are not, but no such statement is there. The statement we have is only about man. Let us make man in our image, in our own likeness let us make. So even that very statement tells us that the creation of man was a deliberate act, well thought through act, well thought through. When the triune God consulted and decided or said, let us make man, it was not an accident. It was not a, thought of the last moment. Hey, we got half a day left. We have been doing, half a day left. Should we do something? Yeah. Why don't we make a man? No, it was not like that. Actually, God was making everything for man 6 days. Everything for man. God first made a beautiful place for man to live in. Then only He made man. He didn't make a man and then asked him, hey, you think you need a place? No, He didn't. He made everything in detail for man. Then He said, let us make man. You know why God didn't make man first? He has no place to live. Yes, that's a good answer. Yeah. Man would have taken credit for everything that was made. He definitely will say that, I and God, we together made it. Yes. I and God, we together made it. We are of the nature that we'll take credit even for. Yes. Right. So if God made man first, yes. Yes. So God said, I'll make man last. Yes. God can take credit, but the image of God cannot take credit. That will be like you have taken bath and you combed your hair and you dress yourself. You stand before a mirror and look, and then the image in the mirror says, see how beautiful I made you. You think of that, the mirror speaking to you. Hey, I made you this pretty, you know that? Well, that doesn't make very much sense. So God knew what man would do, so He made man last. Of course, man needed a place to live. That's a good answer too. He needed food to eat. So many things. Our God is so gracious. He did not give opportunity, room for the wrong temptation. Also, He did not, put man in a vacuum. No, He created a place. Even He made a nice garden, Think of that. Did He command a garden to come up? Or He only commanded the tree to come up and then He plucked those trees and planted one by one, arranged it in such a way nicely. The 2 trees in the center. And, rivers flowing all 4 sides. All those things. God is a marvelous, artist, master artist. He designed everything so beautifully, so beautifully. Everything for man. Everything for man. Yes. So, the creation of God, creation of man by God is not any afterthought, no. It's not. It's not an afterthought. It's a deliberate, purposeful, intelligent, thinking of God according to His purpose. Let us make man in our image. And God made man. It's amazing and beautiful. If we can improve the creation of God in some way, man, what would you do? If you are given a chance, God says, hey, you want to improve man, what would you do? Once a man said that I would have put a flap on my, for the ears. So when somebody talk unnecessary things, I can just, Well, the only time you pull the flap will be when good things will be said. Yeah, definitely. If gospel is preached, man will turn it off. Yeah, God, you cannot improve. God's creation of man is so nicely designed, Everything is created in such beauty and such harmony, nobody can improve, on the creation. Because man is created in the image of God. It's not talking about the external part, the physical part, but the mental part. Man reflects certain things about God. God's personality, God's spirituality, God's ability, intelligence, God's presence, and all those things. So when we start out to study a man, we are really, we should really do it with a great reverence, because we are operating upon the most important creation of God, We are, our study is kind of an operation, surgery. We are taking them apart and see how God has put it and how it is functioning and how reverently we need to do it, I think if somebody is operating upon, an evil person, bad character who has done so much damage for 1 minute. Hello? No. Okay. It's my brother calling me. Just do and calling. That's okay. If somebody is operating upon, some bad characters who has done so much damage to humanity, doctors will say that this guy, But if somebody is operating upon some great personality like Einstein or even some great scientist like that, how careful the scientist will be, because if anything goes wrong, the whole world will, will be asking questions. The same way, when we are studying man, we ought to be so careful, because if anything goes wrong, if anything we say wrongly, that great God will say that, you stupid guy, that's not what I did. Don't speak for me. If you want to speak, speak it right. Otherwise, keep quiet, But yet, God has given us the ability, not the freedom necessarily, to speak. So people have spoken. And you will be surprised what all nonsense people have spoken. Yes. And unless we base all our studies on the Bible, there is no way we can actually study man correctly. So with great reverence, we need to go to the Bible, for our studies. Yes. Man's creation, some say, was man created as a primitive creature, or man was created as the most advanced creature? The anthropologist will say about the Stone Age man, the Iron Age man, the Copper Age man, and all that sort of divisions. What do you think? God made man in the primitive stage? Or he made him very advanced, and because of sin man had gone down and down and down? See, that's the difference. If you study the Bible, use Bible as a basis for study, then you know that man was created perfect. Where most advanced design and creation. Any weakness you find today in man is a result of man committing sin and forgetting the Creator. God made man the most perfect way. So there was no primitive, uncivilized, uncultured state in man. Man was the most perfect creation when he was made. And all the things happened, he had no sicknesses, no mental problems. God didn't have to create a hospital before creating man and a psychiatric unit, all that came afterwards, Actually, only man needs a psychiatric case, hospital today. You go to the veterinary science, medical veterinary college, there is no department of psychology, psychiatry and all that. They have anatomy and physiology, animal physiology and all that, but no psychiatric department for animals, because they don't have a mind. If you don't have a mind, you don't have mental problems, right? Yes. But man was created so perfectly, and man's problems we find today, are not the result of God, it is the result of man. Man tried to improve man against God's will. Man tried to improve man against God's will, and the moment he touched it, it went wrong. If any one of us will improve some of the painting of Michelangelo or some of the other great painters, you think you will improve it or you will? Now, no sensible person will. You may critique, the art critics say that he should have used this kind of paint there, it should have been a hard stroke than a soft one and all that, but you try to do it, you spoil it. The price of that art piece will go dramatically down. That's what happened. The value of man has gone down dramatically because man thought he will add a little paint here, little paint there, so used his chisel little bit here and there, and he has spoiled it. He has spoiled it. In spite of the fact there is nothing better than man. Man still remains the greatest of God's creations. Yes. So anthropology, involves a study of what man is and what man becomes under ordinary arrangement of the Creator. What he is by creation and what he made himself by self-determination, and all those things will come under our study. Definitely man was created unique and perfect, yet man was put under a probation. We know that. And because of man's failure in the probation, the apostasy came, sin came. Sin means, it's always going, down and down, it's not pulling you up. So today we have a man, we cannot even imagine looking at the present man what it was when God created. The thinking pattern changed. Worshipping pattern changed. Even the physical, what was Adam look like? What was his color? How tall was he? How much he weighed? We even have no idea. What is? We'll study about it. We'll study about it, yes. Anyway, your probation is over. So, you can sit easily. It was mankind's probation, and it's, yes. God said, the day you eat, you shall. That was a probation. 6 months' time, any mistake you do, you will be out. And man was put in the Garden of Eden, the most beautiful, perfect place, paradise, if you want to call it. The Bible never calls Garden of Eden paradise. It's only Milton who called it Paradise Lost. Yes. But yet, paradise in Persian language means garden. That's what it is. So, that Paradise he was there in, and he lost it. The moment he sinned, out. That was a probation. He's out of his job. He was there to keep the garden, tend the garden, enjoy the garden. Thousands of fruit trees and all animals there. And I think the rivers flowing all around. Plenty of fish there for man to eat. And even we read that there was gold there. That gold was the finest gold. Everything man needed was, without going through all the metallurgical process of refining gold, gold grains were there, he could just pick them up. Think of that, how beautiful the place was. Man spoiled everything. He failed in the probation. He was told not to eat, but he said, I will eat. He ate it. So lost the paradise. Of course, we're going to be in the paradise. The Lord told the thief on the cross, today you shall be with me in paradise. So we're going to go there, That paradise will be far, far greater and better than the paradise on earth, because there is no more probation there, no more probation there. The tree of knowledge will not be there, only the tree of life. So we don't have to be afraid of failing in the probation. So we don't know really what man looked like, what man looked like, what Adam looked like. Some of the pictorial representation of Adam in the garden, the snake coming and Adam and Eve, it doesn't give me the impression that it was a marvelous piece of work. Looking at those, pictorial representation of Adam and Eve walking in the garden and all, before the fall, and then the snake coming and they're taking and all that, it tells me that man cannot have the capacity to imagine what it was like. That's what he can imagine. He is painting just an ordinary man. No, it was not an ordinary man. He was a unique man. Unique man. Can somebody paint what man will be in heaven when we are all completely redeemed and glorified? Simply say that we shall be like him. We have no idea. Is it in the look? Is it in the thinking? In what sense? It's all beyond our comprehension, Sit down and you can speculate. But more often the speculation will go wrong, because we don't have the capacity to speculate. That's the problem. So John said, we don't know what we shall be. That's a true statement. But we know we shall be like him. In what ways? No, even John didn't say us. But in some ways. So man was created very, very uniquely, and there was no photography those days, and somebody would have taken, but who that somebody will be? Adam has to take Eve's and Eve had to take Adam's, or who else? A picture of what it was like, it would have been nice. But definitely, was Adam a white man or a brown man or a black man? I have the opinion that was a brown person. Yeah. Did anybody tell you how God made man? I may have told you the story. God never made man, first time. So God said, I'm going to make man in my image, in our image. So God, digged out the soil and, put some water and made a paste and made the head and everything else, and, then it has to be baked, So he put for the big oven, for baking. And of course, he was very eager, like the little child, because, hey, babe, we're going to have man, So he put it in and he took it out very fast. So it was not properly baked. It was kind of pale, Anyway, he said, I made man, so I'm not going to throwing it away. So he breathed and said, let these be the white people, See, they don't look baked properly, right? Then God said, I'm going to make a man, they're going to be perfect. So he again did it. He said, I'm not going to be in a hurry. Okay. So he waited a little too long, it was burned up. So he took it out and he said, boy, this looks, terribly different. Don't say terribly bad, terribly different. So anyway, he breathed into the nostrils and said, you go to the African sites and that sort, live there, Then God said, now I wanted to make man the perfect way. So he calculated the average time of the two and all that, and then he baked and came out just the way we are, Neither white nor black, it's just brown. And the thing is, there are more brown people in the world than any other group. Well, it's not like that. God made man. You can think like that, brown I like anyway. That's how God made me. So God must have a reason that we are all come under that category, brown people, brown eyes and brown people and all that, God made man a masterpiece. It's amazing. It's only from one man all the different colors and different sizes and all these people came, anthropologists, social anthropologists spend time and years and research to find out from what group every, ethnic group has come. Where did the Indians come from? The Malayalis come from? The North Indians come from? Where did they come from? Where they are? So it's research going on. About how much research they do, we have the answer where they came from. But Adam and Eve, we can say Noah and Noah's 3 children, that's where they came from. Oh, how come all these variations? Yesterday I was taking a class on, family in Allahabad, and a brother said, brother, I have a problem. I said, what is it? I have a relation, both father and mother are real dark. They have 3 children, they are real white. I said, what's the problem? That's a blessing, right? So what is the problem? The problem is, how come? I said, that's marvelous, Noah had 3 sons from whom all these variations came. Maybe a great-great-grandfather, they are 15, 20 generations back, who were really fair. And God said, maybe I wanted to bless this couple with that kind of, skin color. So bless them, and this comes. Even Mendel's theory and all that, those who studied know that, how the genetic variations come. God has made these possibilities in them. Yeah. So, what I meant to say is that the uniqueness of man's creation. We read that God created man in his own image, but when Adam had a son, what was the statement? Adam created a son in his image. About Seth, it said that he has begotten a son in his image. Yes, that's nice. God's image in man is still there, but it is partially lost, I will say. No, damaged, maybe a better word. So our children are in our image. They are reflecting every weaknesses we have, and it comes long way. Our grandfathers and grandmothers' weakness on both sides, then our parents' weakness on both sides, then of course mine and my wife's weakness on both sides, that our children have inherited. Now as they will pass on, some other family's weaknesses also, it goes on. How carefully you choose your partner, there are weaknesses, hiding there. And so the social anthropologists, they make great studies, but they all do their studies forgetting that there is a creator behind man. You cannot explain man without God. There is no way. Yes. So anthropology, our study primarily concerns about the doctrine of sin actually. That's what we will be studying mostly. The reason, the ideal state before sin came was the most important, but how long? We know actually nothing about that state. So if we wanted to study about that dispensation of so-called innocence before sin came, what do you know about it? Genesis chapter 1 and 2, and then sin. Chapter 3, sin. And then the 66 books until the Revelation, it's all about the sin and things related to it. So if we wanted to study about man's original glorious state, we have no resources. We even don't know how Adam looked like, Adam thought like. Why Eve ate that fruit. We have studied, talked about some of those things, but very limited knowledge we have. So our study of anthropology primarily concerns about the doctrine of sin. It's not because sin is the ideal state of man, no, but because the holy state was very brief, and apart from, we don't have much literature on it. Actually, we don't know how long Adam remained without sinning. Any of you have an idea? I will say that less than a month. That's my thinking. Less than a month. The reason I say is, the day God created a man, He blessed them and said, multiply, Eve did not become pregnant before the sin, so maximum we can say that what's a month. The period of ovulation, maximum can take only a month. So it may have happened before. That was the ideal state, therefore there was no reason, in their relationship, physical relationship, conception won't take place. So conception can take place only when ovulation is there. So I will give a maximum period of 1 month. That's it. Within that period, man fell. And man's age were, when the counting of the age starts. With the day of creation or with the day of sinning? That's a big question. Because there is no age without aging, right? So when did Adam started aging? Did he start aging in the day when he was created? No. Aging started only when sin came. Entropy started only there. So it's possible that the age of Adam basically is the age from the day of sinning, not from the day of creation. Of course, if it's only one month, it doesn't make much difference. So all these things, when you think about it, and you have to think so much about all these things, we have a countdown. God has a countdown. If a man lives today 80 years, you know how God counts? When the first birthday comes, God says 79. Then it is 78. Then it is 10, 9, 8. It comes down, okay, boy, 3, okay, 2, and next birthday, boom. We have count up. So there could be no countdown for Adam when he was created if he didn't sin. Because he was to remain eternally. Do we get older in eternity? How old you will be after 1,000 years in eternity? There is no aging. So when there is no aging, age doesn't mean anything. All of us will be in same age. Why, you want to catch up with him? You want to be much younger? Well, that's a good question. Will all of well, I think that the appearance will be there, aging. Abraham was recognized because Abraham was, yes. When Samuel was brought in, he was an old man with grey hair and beard and all, so the appearance will be there. But the counting of the age, I don't know. Probably nobody will count age there. How old is Gabriel? I don't think there is a record of the Gabriel or Michael's age, because they never age. Therefore their age is not counted. So this is a very marvelous thing, see what sin has brought in. Yeah, wonderful and amazing, right? Yes, it is. It is. So the study of man involves a lot of things, If we can walk back into the Garden of Eden, take a look at it, and see Adam and Eve standing there in the ideal state, without sin, all glorious, reflecting the image of God, oh, that would have been glorious. But we will never see our grandparents, great-grandparents in that condition anymore. Yes. How bad Adam and Eve will feel all through eternity because they only brought in the sin. How will they forget the wound of the Lord Jesus Christ? It's only they caused it. But then why blame them? You will find out that in a study of anthropology, Adam is not, the only one who is responsible for it. Yes. There is a song somebody wrote, "Who Killed Jesus?" many years ago. Was it the Roman soldiers? Was it the Jewish boys? No. My sin demanded hell. It fell on him. So who is the killer of Jesus? It's you and me. That realization is what brings a person to the point of salvation. The historical reality, 2000 years back, there was a man called Jesus. He came and he died. So what is it? No. He died because of me. My sin demanded the punishment, but it fell on him. So who killed Jesus? It was me. That's the songwriter ends. It was me. It was me. What a realization that. So even if, when we meet Adam, some people now say that I want to talk to him. For all the problems that he has brought in. Well, you don't need to talk to him about problems. You can just talk to yourself. Adam was not alone when he ate that fruit. Yes. Well, these are questions that we will be discussing, who ate the fruit? Did we? Did we sin? How we became sinners? All these questions come. So that's an introduction I just said about how important is the study of anthropology. It's very important. A proper understanding of anthropology is very necessary for us to appreciate our salvation and also to worship our God. Worship our God. Yes. I often think about God creating man. We say that Calvary represents the greatest love of God. I sometimes ask, is it? Or the Garden of Eden, the creation of man represents the greatest love of God. See, when God was creating man, he knew fully well all that was involved because Christ was already set apart from the foundation of the earth, right? So everything he knew, everything was planned for. So it's not an accident. So when God, Jesus Christ, he himself sat down maybe like a child in the mud and shaped the head, and what may have come through his mind, as he was forming the ears and everything, and then he must knew that, this is the very brain that's going to plot against me. They're going to cause my death. If you are creating a toy with mud, and the thought comes that this head is going to think against you and going to cause your death, what will you do? What will you do? That's right, you will crush it. But Jesus didn't crush it. See that? How softly he designed it. He was making the hands. He knew these are the hands that's going to take that big nails, iron nails and the hammer and going to pound it into my hands and my feet. What he should have done? Just pluck it away and throw it away. He should have hit the hut like this and we would have flat hut like that. So for me, the very account of creation does not simply tell us how great a creator he is, but how great a lover he is. Knowing the cost, knowing what this man is going to do to him, the creator made him. Some people say, why did he make it? He should have destroyed it. Well, if he had destroyed it, you won't be there to say it. To ask the question, why did he make it? See, we are able to ask that question only because he did not destroy him. So it's a great, love. Of course, Calvary is the epitome of it, the highest point, but the point of creation is not in any way less. It's marvelous. So God's love is seen all through the creation of man, the designing of man, the decision to make, the design, and the very act of making, When he stood close to it, Jesus, and was to breathe into it, it's a lifeless. If I give him life, he's going to think against me and he's going to cause my own death. There's a problem of sin in this world and all these things, Instead of blowing it, he will blow it away. Softly blowing into his nostrils the breath of life, he will just, his anger, he will blow it like a hurricane or something, blowing it away. The head of Adam would have been blown away 1,000 miles away. How gracious our God is. How we dare to question the love of God. Simply because we have mouth to speak. Is that the only reason? No, we don't understand. We don't understand the marvels of creation. The Creator has taken so much pain, I will say that. The pain in Jesus, death did not happen on Calvary or Gethsemane, The actual pounding of the nail and everything started right there when the creation was taking. Right there, because as God, He knew this is going to happen. That's why we read in the Bible, the lamb that was slain from the foundation of the earth. That's it. The lamb that was slain. The experience of slaying on the part of Christ did not happen on the mount, Golgotha, Calvary, started there. You think of Abraham and Isaac walking up to that Mount Moriah. Abraham was to offer Isaac a sacrifice there. There he went and tied down, then took the knife and, came down just a quarter of an inch close to his throat. Isaac felt the pain when, I took the knife and all that. But when did Abraham feel that? The night in which God appeared and said that slay your son. That knife went through Abraham's heart 1,000,000 times, not 100, 1,000,000 times, in and out, in and out, in and out. God the Father experienced the pain, yes, because He is giving away His Son to be crucified, This mystery of creation, all that is involved in it. What it cost God to make man? We just read it and say, hey, it's great, it's wonderful, God took the mud and made it and breathed, and here a little creature running all around, wonderful. No, it's a lot more involved there. Lot more involved there. Knowing what it cost God's own Son and God, knowing that, He loved us so much to create. What made Him to create knowing the cost? The only answer, God so loved the world, means people. He loved man. He said, let us make man in our image. If there is eternal hell, who is pained more about eternal hell? Definitely say God is pained very much. God is not laughing at people there, but God's justice cannot be violated. God's justice cannot be violated. God did not laugh when Jesus was crying there on the cross. My God, why thou hast forsaken me? He could have come down and immediately, taken the Son out of the cross and said, you go, you don't have to die. Not the same thing. God experienced the pain and agony. So that's a brief introduction I wanted. So when we enter into the study of anthropology, we need to enter into it with great reverence. We are talking about the creation of man. It's not a toy manufacturing company making toys. A few toys damaged, throw it away. Give them to recycling. It's not like that. It's great. Westminster Confession says, God created man, male and female, with reasonable and immortal souls. It's a great statement. God created man, male and female, with reasonable and immortal souls. If you want to write a commentary on that, you can write 1,000 pages. Did it say God made man? God created man. Yes. The physical body of man, of course, was not ex nihilo. It used the available material. But the breath of life, from his own breath of life, he transferred it to man. Man became a reasonable, means he has a rational ability. He can reason now. He can reason. He is an intelligent creature. He has emotions. He has, cognition, intelligence. He had volition, willpower. And an immortal soul. That soul cannot be destroyed even in hell. It will be there because it's imparted from God. So you think of, the body can be destroyed. Yes. But the soul cannot be. God is immortal. God made man also immortal. But God's immortality is uncreated immortality. Man's immortality is created. So that has a big difference. Yes. God made man an eternal being. But no eternity past, but only eternity future. It's a marvelous creation. It's a marvelous creation. Genesis 1:27 supports that statement. Genesis 1:27. What does it say? 1:26 says, let us make man in our image, in our likeness. 1:27 says, He created them male and female. He created them male and female. God created amazing, beautifully. Genesis 2:7 says, God breathed into man the breath of life, and man became a living soul. God has created so many animals. The sea animals, or the sea creatures, the land animals, the fowls in the air, and all that. He didn't breathe into their nostrils. They did not become living creatures. They only commanded, let Every kind bring forth after its own kind. The cattle and the elephants, they were all spoken into existence. God didn't say let man come out or come forth. The labor of man, the labor of man. Somebody very rightly said that for 6 days God has created huge, great planets and animals and all. He never got his hands soiled. But when he made man, he looked at it, it's full of soil, And to redeem him, he looked at it's full of blood. Just think of that. Yes. How much it cost God to make man. So that statement, let us make man in our image, is not a small statement. It's so much is involved in it. Yes, the body was made of earth and the spirit from God. This is the reason why we read in Ecclesiastes 12:7, then shall the dust return to the earth, that's a body part, and the spirit shall return to God who gave it. Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return to God who gave it. Of course, return to God. God has prepared 2 places for the soul to be. If it reaches there back in the right condition, it will rest with him in heaven. If not, for eternity it will rest in hell. But there is the reality of heaven and hell. The soul cannot be destroyed. Soul cannot be destroyed. In the Hindu theology, if there is a theology, Panchabhuta joining the Panchabhuta, that's why they cremate. They see man is only 5 elements. When it is burned, the 5 elements go back. Join, nothing. Where is man? Cease to exist. We cannot cremate man because we just cannot, The soul of man exists forever. Another reason why, of course, we don't cremate is because God has a plan for this body. It's a plan for this body. They have no plan. In their theology, no more plan for the body. But we have a plan. God has a plan. He is going to resurrect the body. Even if you cremate, He can resurrect. But the analogy is against the hope. Because He is saying, okay, has no plan. Get rid of it. No, we put them in a nice box with nice velvet clothes inside. Covered with the best clothes. Man is at his best when he is in the coffin. Even some people who never had a crown on their head, they have a crown even there. And so nicely, the hand that used and waved, challenged everybody now so meekly, abiding and all, our shoes on there, some people will put there, even some will put a tie on. So very nicely, not a grain of soil will go there, it's tightly closed. Nowadays, of course, coffins are so expensive. In the Western countries, they were already, $3,000, $5,000. Now, Chinese coffins are coming 15,000, 20,000 rupees. As one item never advertised, but now start advertising. Look how nice boxes you could be. But that's all goes with our hope, That. So the Bible uses the word sleeping. Lazarus is sleeping. Sleeping in the Lord, slept in the Lord. How can you take a person who is sleeping and burn him? It doesn't make so. We don't. Christians don't, because it's against our hope. In harmony with our hope, we needed to bury them. Interestingly, look all through the Bible, you can never see anybody buried in the soil just like that. It's always the tomb. Yes. I'm not saying that you cannot bury or anything, but in the Bible it is not there, It's always in a tomb. Because it's all, symbolic. It's all symbolic. A tomb is a place nicely built, built and everything. You keep the body there. And so people nowadays, even Christians start cremating. Well, people ask me, what do you think about it? I say, I don't think very much high about it. Cremating. Yes. So the Bible says the dust shall return to the earth, and the spirit shall return to God who gave it. Our Lord told disciples and others who were listening to him, said, don't be afraid of man who can kill only the body, but be afraid of God who can both destroy or kill your body and your soul in hell. There's no annihilation. It continues. So the biblical doctrine about man is created in a unique way. For an eternity he is created. It's a sin that Cain caused all these problems. And God didn't bring sin. Man did. That's the sad part of it. We talk about it a whole lot. But man was created in a unique way. Man was created bisexual, because we read he created the male and female. Male and female. In Genesis chapter 5, we read about man that he called them Adam. He called them Adam. Adam became a proper noun, a personal noun for the male man later, but when God created Adam was a generic name. It's a generic name. It was not a personal name. It is a species name. So Adam means mankind, more than man. Let us make mankind in our image. Let us make mankind male and female. So God made mankind male and female, and he called the mankind the name Anthropos, man. So that name is a generic name, it's a species name. Just like you say the cattle or cow, whatever is, But that later became taken for Adam. That was also given as a personal name, proper name. Yes. So God in the beginning was not making what we call, that personal man, Adam. Of course, that personal man, Adam, was made bisexual. It's only by surgically removed, you can almost say that, taken from Adam. God did not create a woman just like he created a man, took again soil and everything, and no. He has taken something from woman, from man and made her a woman and presented. And Adam was so intelligent at that time, he didn't say, now this is soil from the soil and breath of God from the nostrils. No. He said, this is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. Hey, it's my part of me, Amazing. How did he know that? He all woken up. Did God say that I'm going to do that? No. He put him to sleep. From the anesthesia he got out and he was brought in. Just a look and said that, boy or girl, you came out of me. It's not talking about compatibility, but it's more than compatibility. It's talking that God created a man bisexual, He was created male and female. So the word man could be used for woman also, because it's for mankind. Yes. Man does not live by bread alone. Does it mean that women live by bread alone? No, it's for the whole. It's for both. But the word woman cannot be used for the mankind, the species. The man, anthropos. There is another word, aner, for the male man. Anthropos could mean mankind, therefore it could represent everybody. Yes. When say man is a sinner, not saying that only the male man is sinner, women are not sinners. They are less sinners, I guess. Because they were, they were kind of cheated. Bible says that she was, how does Paul say that? Beguiled. Adam knowingly ate. So he is a bigger sinner. When you knowingly do something, even Paul said, God forgive me because I have done it out of ignorance. Yes, ignorance is a fact that God sometimes forgives, but Adam was nothing ignorant. He knowingly, he wanted to do it, so he did it. That's why he said the man is a bigger sinner than woman. But she is more culpable for sin than man. Man has determined to sin. She can be pushed into sin. See that? You always have to watch for people who can be influenced for sin. When somebody cannot be influenced, but if they do it knowingly, they are more dangerous. But then, they won't fall into it by accident. So there's a difference between. So all salesmen usually approach women for selling their merchandise. And you can see that people who sell from home to home, after the man goes to office, they will bring the vessels and the burden and the clothes and everything, and they will buy and buy and buy. And this is happening everywhere because they can be influenced. That's part of the creative design, I think. A man was created male and female, yes. So the idea of a man is incomplete without man and woman. The two together constitute the human species or the humankind. A solitary male or a solitary female cannot propagate the human species. The two have to come together. Poet Milton said, two great sexes animate the whole world. Two great sexes, that is about Adam and Eve, in his paradise lost. Two great sexes animate the whole world. Well, that's how true it is. Angels were created sexless, we know that. They have gender, but they don't have sex. General, they are all masculine. Even God in gender is masculine. We never read about a she-god or it god. Some Bibles have now the popular versions now have it for God. It loves the world. Because they don't want a masculine God or a feminine God, because they fight, men and women, at home. And devotion day, husband and wife will fight, If it is he loud, she said, no, I don't want that God. And if it's she, then he said, I don't need that God. So they say, okay, let's settle for a it God. Man, anyway, he is a sinner, so. So angels were sexless. In gender they were masculine, but they were sexless. Unlike mankind, angels do not have a species. Angels are not a species. A species comes only when it can multiply. God said that each bring after its own kind or species. You cannot have a species. If every item is individually made, then it cannot be a species. So man is a species. Is a kind, because man, woman, from them the whole humanity. But angels were not created like that. For that reason, the number of angels do not increase or decrease. They do not increase because they are not created. They are not procreated. Why they don't decrease? Because they have no death. They have no death, so they remain the same. Whatever is created is there. But man, he increases and he decreases. Yes. Sometimes the population increases. After the Second World War, the population went down. And immediately, all the male people were killed in the Second World War. It's very interesting. The army. Every child who was born after the Second World War, especially in Germany and Italy and all those places, every child was male. God replaced the male population so that the balance will be there. This is something that, something that puzzles anthropologists. How can immediately after the war all the children were male children? That's, in Europe. Because the male population was wiped out. There are plenty of women, they cannot find husbands. Of course, if you ask, are all those older women going to marry these? But that's not the point. All over the world, there was a female population always higher. The World War reduced the male population, so God replaced it. Even take any country, the ratio between the male and female is not drastically different. For every 100, maybe 98, that sort of a difference. That's only the difference. So God always, then God has a control. We sometimes wonder, we have more, female girls and this and that. But God somehow is controlling it. It's controlling. It's amazing. So male, female, that together makes, but angels don't have females, they have only males, And now, I'm not saying they are male sex, male gender, They are a corporate body, they are not a species. They don't even have a common character, I think. Common character can come only when a species, one is born from the other one because the genes carried over. But there are no genes. Do angels have a gene? That's a good question. Or their character is given. You be an angel with this and this and this character, God said. Made him like that. And another angel said, you be like this, smiling person always, a good angel. But you always smile and gracious. And you always frown and angry and cruel. That's sort of, I don't know, But they don't have a common character. So we have different ones. We have the cherubims and the seraphs, and we have the dominions and the principalities and the powers. We have the demons and the archangels and good angels, bad angels. We have all kinds of angels. I don't know what two angels will be talking each other. They won't be talking about them because they have very little things, They will be talking about their Creator, and they will be talking about us. See, the angels are deeply interested in human beings because humanity is a puzzle for them. Created in the image of God, they marry, they procreate, they do this, they do that, and they say that we created in God's image too. We don't have any of these privileges. Of course they eat, that. We know that they need food because don't we read that man has eaten the food of the angels? What psalm? One of the psalms say that they have eaten the manna, that's the food of the angels. So they must be eating. Not for survival, I know, but for fun, I guess, or fellowship. Food is an essential part. Even God is interested in food, right? Anytime God came down, man offered food and God ate it. Yes. Even meat and everything. Was God vegetarian? I very seldom think. Because anytime we read about God giving them, He gave them the quails and He gave them this and He gave them that. And Jesus, whenever He gave food, there was some, fish, loaves and all that. Never gave pure vegetarian food. I'm not talking about vegetarian food, we all eat non-veg. Veg is good and I'm not saying it is not good. But seems like there must be some reason for it. Yeah, some people say that, Indians especially say that, a vegetarian is the ideal. I said, then God must have done a mistake. Yeah. He gave the Jewish people, especially the chosen classes are the Levites, right? The priestly class. What were they eating all day? Yeah, a good part of the sacrifice. They were given the main part all day. How many animals were sacrificed? Boy, they get a part of them all. So they were having, every child was having a leg, I guess, of a bull. And that's what we read there, like Abraham, what did he do? 3 people came, and he placed the whole animal before them. He said, eat. Samuel was going to anoint Saul, he specially ordered the cook that you reserve the hind leg for him. Then said, he said, bring that choice portion that I said. That he brought the whole leg placed before Saul and said, eat it. How could he eat the whole thing? I never could understand. You cannot eat even a chicken, the whole thing. But apparently, that's the way it was. If there is a feast in heaven, what will be the menu? What will be the menu? I don't know. Manna, yeah. Manna alone will not be there. There will be something else. Yeah, manna put or something. Manna bhajia. I don't know what God will make, but I know fish will be there, because even in the new heavens we read, where the water goes, fish will multiply. In Eden there were fish, 4 rivers. Man was never allowed to eat fish. Animals were allowed to eat. You can eat meat. Concerning fish, never permission was given. It was never asked to kill a fish and bleed it. No restrictions. So I believe that man ate fish from the beginning. And even why should fish multiply even the new heaven and new earth? And interestingly, fish is not a creature that lives for hundreds of years, So God must have a purpose. Anyway, that's not our, Angels don't have many of the privileges we have because it is not a species. That's what I meant to say. They are a corporate body, but they are not a species. But man is created wonderfully. Man's body, how uniquely designed and created. We are the only creatures who got back pain. Anything that walks on the floor don't have back pain. Cow did never have a buffalo never has, horse never have back pain. People sit on it. Elephants don't have back pain. This standing straight, and this place with all the vertebrae, the lumbar region, this upper region and all those regions, yes. So the body of man is uniquely created. It is of a different nature and substance from the soul. Soul is made of immaterial thing. This is made of material thing. God formed man of the dust of the ground. Genesis 2:7, of the dust of the ground. Was there anything unique about the ground, the dust that God has taken? It said that man contains basically every element that is in the soil. Yes, every element. There is iron and calcium and magnesium and phosphorus and gold and everything in man. So the soil that God has taken, everything was there, even gold was there. Amazing, isn't it? Yes. Man was taken from the soil and God made a beautiful body. How tall was Adam when God made it, the ideal man? I don't know. Anyway, he was above 6 feet, must be. How tall was Eve? Taller than Adam? Or shorter than Adam? Today every man wants wife to be shorter. I don't know why. Shorter than man. Yes. Why can't you have longer, women little longer than man? Does anywhere says in the Bible man has to be longer? But nobody will say anything if a 7 feet man marry even a 4 feet, Actually, I have a friend, whose son, whose daughter is only just little above, 4.5 maybe. Maybe 4.6 or 4.8 maybe maximum. She's not 5, she's very short. And married to a 6 feet 4 inch man, or 5 inch. Very godly couple. Very ideal couple. But people don't say anything. But suppose the reverse. Yeah. Well, this is all man-made things. Definitely. Of course, people say that how long you can stretch a bone. The earth you can just, mud you can take more mud and make it longer and longer. But bone is a part of the body that grows, A short person could be now made longer by, the Russians have invented a surgery where you cut the bone, leave the gap and the bone grow, then again cut 2-inch gap, then the gap grows and become 1. So they can, make man grow tall, make it low. Only bone grows, Meat only adds weight and all that. So if the woman is taller, what's wrong? I don't see any wrong. Of course, my wife is almost a feet shorter than me. Nothing wrong. But if she was a foot longer, everybody would have looked. Nothing wrong, I guess, Anyway, God made man's physical body with the material, with earth taken from the soil taken from the earth. It contains everything. The fact that it contains everything tells me that soil from wherever it was taken was a kind of a typical soil, You take soil here, it may not contain any gold at all, probably. In phosphorus, it may not have. Magnesium, it may not have. I don't know what it has. Some chemicals will be there. In Kerala, there is very little iron, I know that. No iron ore is there very much. Maybe a little bit in some areas. But Adam's body or man's body contained everything. And then the spirit of man was breathed into it. God breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And man became a living soul. Nefesh haya. A breath that has life, which is called the soul of life. We'll talk more about it after the break.